For millions of fans around the world, Michael Jackson will always be remembered as the king of pop. He was the man who changed music forever, broke records that still stand today, and created performances so legendary that they became part of history. But behind the dazzling stage lights, the sold-out stadiums, and the iconic moonwalk was another side of Michael that many people rarely got to see. It was a side that was awkward, playful, innocent, and unbelievably funny. In fact, some of Michael's funniest moments happened completely by accident. He never seemed to realize how hilarious he was, and that made those moments even better. Whether he was confusing interviewers, prank-calling celebrities, or making entire rooms burst into laughter with his unique personality, Michael had a natural comedic charm that couldn't be taught. One of the funniest things about Michael was how unpredictable he could be during interviews. Reporters would sit down expecting serious answers from one of the biggest stars in the world. Instead, they often found themselves trying not to laugh. During one memorable interview, Michael became fascinated with an interviewer's accent. Rather than answering questions normally, he started repeating phrases and joking about the way words sounded. The interviewer struggled to keep a straight face while Michael giggled like a child. It was impossible not to laugh along with them because his amusement felt completely genuine. What made these moments special was that Michael never appeared to be
Even celebrities weren't safe from Michael's unexpected sense of humor. Actor Russell Crowe once shared a story that perfectly captured Michael's playful personality. According to Crowe, Michael somehow got into the habit of calling his hotel room and speaking in funny voices. The strange part was that the two had never even met. Imagine staying in a hotel and receiving mysterious prank calls from none other than Michael Jackson. It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly the kind of thing Michael enjoyed doing. He found joy in the simplest jokes and loved surprising people. Michael's childlike nature appeared everywhere. During car rides, he would suddenly start mimicking sounds around him. If he heard a noise outside, he would imitate it perfectly. Friends sitting beside him would watch in disbelief as the world's biggest entertainer transformed into a one-man sound effects machine. Those moments revealed that beneath the superstar image was someone who never lost his sense of wonder. One unforgettable example came during a visit to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. While cameras followed his every move, Michael became obsessed with finding the perfect angle. Instead of focusing on the event itself, he kept directing attention toward which side of his face the cameras should capture. His reactions became increasingly funny as he shifted positions and commented on the angles. The photographers couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Rather than acting like a serious celebrity, Michael treated the entire situation like a game. Then there was the moment he realized photographers were snapping pictures every time he moved. Most stars would ignore it. Michael decided to have fun. He began changing poses and movements just to see the reactions. Every flash seemed to encourage him even more. It was as if he had discovered a new toy and couldn't stop playing with it.
Many of Michael's funniest moments happened around fellow entertainers. Eddie Murphy, one of the greatest comedians in Hollywood, often found himself laughing uncontrollably around Michael. During one appearance together, Murphy's legendary comedic timing combined with Michael's awkward charm to create pure magic. Michael would say something completely innocent, and the room would immediately burst into laughter. Even Murphy, a man known for making others laugh, struggled to keep his composure. The same thing happened during discussions about touring. Michael tried to speak honestly about the difficulties of life on the road. When someone suggested he make his comments sound more positive, Michael attempted to cooperate. But his delivery was so awkward and sincere that everyone ended up laughing anyway. The funniest part was that Michael wasn't trying to be funny. He was simply being himself. One of the greatest stories comes from Chris Tucker, one of Michael's closest friends. According to Tucker, going to the movies with Michael was unlike any experience imaginable. Because Michael couldn't easily appear in public without attracting attention, he developed creative ways of sneaking into theaters. He would dress entirely in black and arrive at exactly the right moment. Sometimes Tucker would sit down, look around, and wonder where Michael was. Then suddenly, Michael would appear beside him as if he had materialized out of nowhere. The image of the most famous man in the world secretly sneaking into a movie theater like a ninja remains absolutely hilarious. Michael also had a habit of unintentionally creating awkward situations. One legendary example involved Stevie Wonder. While working together in a recording studio, Michael became excited about something and instinctively suggested that Stevie take a look. The problem, of course, was that Stevie Wonder is blind. The realization hit Michael immediately. The room erupted.
Another hilarious chapter in Michael's life involved his work on Black or White. Behind the scenes, Michael often behaved like a kid making a home movie. During promotional footage, he joked around constantly, experimented with funny introductions, and struggled to maintain a serious tone. What should have been a professional production frequently turned into comedy because Michael couldn't resist entertaining himself. Family gatherings provided even more evidence of Michael's playful side. Despite being one of the most famous people on Earth, he was treated like any other relative when he spent time with family members. His nephews and cousins loved teasing him. On one occasion, they repeatedly pushed him into a swimming pool. Michael would climb out, dry himself off, and moments later find himself back in the water again. The sight of the King of Pop being outsmarted by his younger relatives was comedy gold. Even his marriage produced memorable, funny moments. During interviews, questions occasionally drifted into personal territory. When topics became awkward, Michael's facial expressions often stole the show. There were times when his reactions said more than words ever could. Audiences watching those interviews couldn't help laughing because his discomfort was so obvious and relatable. One of the most famous stories came from boxing legend Mike Tyson. Tyson recalled meeting Michael for the first time during the height of both their careers. Expecting immediate recognition, Tyson approached the superstar. Instead, Michael looked at him and casually asked where he knew him from. Tyson. Another incredible story came from Sammy Davis Jr.'s home. According to Eddie Murphy, Michael arrived for a movie night, but became overwhelmed by the number of people present. Instead of joining everyone, he hid behind a door. Murphy eventually joined him there, and the two stood behind the door together, observing the room. The image is almost impossible to picture without laughing. One of the biggest stars in history hiding from guests at a party sounds like something from a comedy sketch. Christmas celebrations were equally entertaining. Michael's excitement over gifts often resembled that of a child rather than a global superstar. Whether opening toys, playing with water guns, or laughing at family jokes, he approached holidays with pure enthusiasm. Those moments revealed a side of Michael that fans rarely saw in public. Perhaps the funniest story of all involves Magic Johnson. According to Johnson, he received a strange phone call from someone claiming to be Michael Jackson. Convinced it was a prank, Magic immediately hung up. A few minutes later, the phone rang again. The caller insisted he really was Michael Jackson. Once again, Magic didn't believe him and hung up. It took multiple calls before Johnson finally realized that the mysterious voice actually belonged to Michael himself. The story perfectly captures Michael's love of playful mischief. Then there was his birthday celebration, where Michael appeared more relaxed than usual. Friends and fellow celebrities gathered to celebrate, and Michael's comments became increasingly funny as the evening progressed. Every sentence seemed to produce laughter. His playful interactions with guests created an atmosphere of pure joy. It was one of those rare occasions where the world saw him simply having fun. Looking back at all these moments, it becomes clear that Michael Jackson's greatest gift wasn't just music. It was his ability to bring happiness to people around him. Whether he was performing in front of thousands or joking with friends in private, he had a unique way of making others smile. His humor wasn't polished or rehearsed. It came from innocence, curiosity, and a genuine love of life. That's why these stories continue to resonate years later. They remind us that behind the legendary performances, behind the record-breaking albums, and behind the global fame was a man who loved to laugh. A man who prank-called friends, hid behind doors, got pushed into swimming pools, and accidentally created some of the funniest celebrity moments ever recorded. The world will always remember Michael Jackson as the King of Pop.
But for those lucky enough to witness his playful side, he was also one of the funniest people to ever walk the planet. And perhaps that's the most beautiful part of his legacy. Not just the music he left behind, but the laughter he shared with everyone around him.